What is up, everybody? Welcome to the very snowy Canadian wilderness. This little slice of life I figured I'd put at the start here just to show you. You can see, if you're watching on YouTube, how much snow we've gotten the past day or two. It's kind of nutty. Things have been hectic ever since our weekend last weekend at Face to Face Games Calgary Tour Weekend. Thank you so much again to Face to Face for having us out. We managed to do a whole bunch of recording. We got, I think, 4 games recorded. We got a couple podcasts recorded, and we got to debut the new studio, the new Rogue HQ. Do you like the new Rogue HQ, Luca? Yeah. Look at how much snow is on my truck. Look at this. There's so much friggin' snow. Worked really hard on the new studio environment, and we finally got to drag it in and debut it at the face-to-face backdrop. It lives in the basement now, so you'll see it in all the rest of the videos as well. But yeah, thank you so much to Dan from Into the 99 for being on this episode of the podcast. Really appreciate everything that happened that weekend, and we are so close. We're so close to 1,000 subs right now, so hit that sub button if you haven't subbed yet. Oh yeah, and get better, Brando. He's got the plague, the con crud from that weekend. He's not doing so hot. So enjoy this episode of the Rogues Passage podcast with Daniel from Into the 99 on location live at Face to Face Tournament Tour Calgary weekend. See you guys on the next one. Bow.
Also, quick note, apologies that the audio is not 100%. We just used the Rode shotgun mics on top of our cameras for this. Next time, definitely going to bring the proper studio mics. It was very loud in the convention hall, but it's good content. I hope you enjoy it. See you later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rogues Passage. Yeah, we'll start that again. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rogues Passage podcast on location at the Face to Face Calgary Tour Weekend Tournament, the regional championship for its pioneer this time. I'm Tanner Cherry.
I'm Brando.
This is Brando. And
I'm Daniel.
Daniel from Into the 99. I'm sure if you've been watching our YouTube channel or theirs, you know who this is. We're neighbors. We're special guests at the event this year. We're just like hanging out, recording gameplay in the new studio, the new Rogue HQ.
The Rogue HQ. It's so good.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's too good.
Thank you.
Our boy here did a lot of hard work to put this thing together, and it's good.
It's coming together. We finally have a nice little environment, and yeah.
There's not to be mean to people, but there's a difference in the booth quality. It's nice. I'll give it to it. I have a booth. It's not like this.
Yeah, but it works well. You guys got the wicked camera setup. I love that overhead stuff. Check out Into the 99 on YouTube and all podcasts, outlets, whatever.
Yes.
Spotify, Apple, places, whatever. If you listen to podcasts, you know where to get podcasts. I've got notes to talk about today, but we're also...
Before that, I want to say one thing. Come see Channer and Brady, and I think Brando also do trivia with the Firemines.
Oh yeah, is that all going up on your YouTube?
It'll be on one of them. I'm sure. You'll find it. It'll be there.
Yeah, we'll post it too. It's a brilliant concept. Doing
The trivia was fun.
Did you?
Brady
come
was a
up
great
with
host.
All of the questions, yeah. Very good lead-in, like with some easy questions to some very like meta, super hard questions. Like the one you were telling me about just before this was, what was it like? What's
the first alphabetical card in Magic.
Yeah.
And it's not a letter. It's a good trick question. It's the +2 mace.
The +2 mace on
That just
screen
seems
now.
like cheating.
It is cheating.
That's kind of like a technicality, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys do nice editing. I can say pull that up.
Yep, it's right here.
Pull it up right here.
Right in the box. Or if you're Brady, it's up over here.
Yeah.
I love. He leans into that now too. He's like, image prop here.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we haven't done a podcast in
A while.
I think the last one we released was after the Commander bans.
Yeah.
And God, like the train has not stopped, right? Like we're now in what is called the Foundations era of Magic, which like it's one thing I wanted to talk about is like we got kind of the bomb dropped on us about how like half of all Magic sets now that are released through like the standard pipeline are going to be stuff like Spider-Man and Final Fantasy, like Universes Beyond.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like triggered. I mean, I don't know. I understand because like if you look at this coming year, 2025, we've got like Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, and an unannounced Universes Beyond set coming down the pipeline. And then for Magic IP, which we'll call that in quotations, we've got Tarkir, we've got the Death Race set, which is like
Aether Drift.
and then we've got one echoing eons or something. It's
Yeah.
like space.
In space.
Maybe, like, again, like,
It kind of seems like an unset.
yeah, one of them seems like an unset, like the Galaxy Foil on Infinity.
Yeah.
One of them seems like Thunder Junction again, you know, just like...
Well, Aether Drift, I'm pretty sure was like, I think it started off conceptually as a Hot Wheels crossover, and then they couldn't get the rights or something. This is speculation, but I remember seeing a bunch of imagery being like, Secret Lair, Hot Wheels. It's like, I don't know that ever happened.
I hope it's Mad Max, at least, because Mad Max is fantasy-ish, right?
I'm convinced it's just a psychological experiment to see how much we'll tolerate.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot.
And
yeah.
it ultimately
Unfortunately,
it is.
there's no wall, there's no ceiling to that. There's always, unfortunately, now going to be enough people that do not give a crap. That
I remember with the Walking Dead set, there was so much backlash for everything Walking Dead, and I was a big fan at the time of saying, you know what, let people play what they're gonna play, let them do what they want, and that's not what people. A lot of people didn't like it, and now you don't have, because if you didn't like the Walking Dead stuff, you just didn't buy it, and that's fine. I don't care.
Right.
But now if it's a main set, like as a Secret Lair, the Universe Beyond has been. I don't like a lot of them, but like I don't like Doctor Who. Like it's not the show for me.
Fair.
I do like Warhammer and stuff, and I don't like Assassin's Creed at all. But like the Assassin's Creed set was phenomenal. There was great stuff in it for like everyone, lots of deck upgrades. The Doctor Who stuff the same. There was lots of really cool cards. So it was always nice to have those side releases. But now if it's the main set and like that's standard, like we both play Arena and stuff, right? Like that's. I don't want to play with Barney the Dinosaur cards.
I will admit, like, I mean, we haven't even touched on the worst of it yet with the slipperiest of slopes of reaching the bikini bottom early.
Yeah.
But like, what I want to just comment on is that Final Fantasy never irked me because that's wizards, mages, and spells.
Final Fantasy makes
summons.
sense.
Final Fantasy as a Universes Beyond set that is actually going into standard. It does like I actually love that, but Spider-Man seems really fucking off. That's like Brooklyn or whatever, you know?
It's modern day, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
that was my biggest gripe. But I think it was when they did the Fallout Secret Lairs, where I was kind of on the fence, and we talked about a lot of this, where it's just like things that exist in that sort of high fantasy, the Warhammer, the Lord of the Rings, like these make sense in the context of like where magic sits, and then you start getting into like Assassin's Creed. Phenomenal cards. I love my Edward Kenway deck. I hate seeing a human being that was born on goddamn Earth sitting
in
Milwaukee,
in them,
right?
Versus Socrates versus Yawgmoth. I'm like, this is cool, but this doesn't make sense.
Although I always tell people to just make whatever they want.
Yeah.
Legal commander, not legal commander. And if they're already doing real humans on Earth, I am technically a real human on Earth. Nothing's stopping me from making a Daniel card. You just got to argue it enough.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
It's just Primeval Titan, but with me by name.
How easily do you think we could bully Wizards of the Coast into doing it into the 99 Secret Lair?
Probably not enough. Although it was really funny. There's for the big event was like the Pride event for the year, and they were like partner anything with anything, and so many people kept being like, hey, like that's like really great that you guys are doing this, and I was like, I just do this all year. I just play everything with everything, legal commander, not legal commander.
It's amazing how it shifted with the consent or the encouragement of Wizards, like the endorsement, really, right? It was like people were like, once it was endorsed by Wizards, they were like, oh, this is such a great idea. But prior to that, it's like, that's not allowed.
Honestly, I haven't had a big problem with like I'm a big proponent to talk to your group, right? And generally people are like, as long as it's fun, like no one's ever going to have let me be like, this is my Nadu paired with Dockside deck. No one's going to allow this to play, right? Everyone's going to be like, get out of here. But like,
I brought Nekuzar and Children.
but I do see that the like I think the real life places do take away from the fantasy setting, right? Like the sit down and actually play the game setting. I don't want to like summon a taxi cab for 3 mana and go down, you know?
It is a slippery slope that people were complaining years ago, right? When The Walking Dead came out, and unexpectedly there was one card that did become a legacy deck, like in Legacy Humans.
With Rick, right?
Yeah, Rick was actually a good card in the human deck, and the only place you can get this card is this one Secret Lair that was briefly on sale, and that's it. And so it actually
They're
sparked...
doing the same thing now with the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, General Kenobi recently just put out a video talking about this too. Pleasant Kenobi, where it's just like, because they ended up giving us in-universe reprints of the Walking Dead cards, and they've been vocal of like, they plan to do that, but we did recently get, I guess, an announcement saying that they're kind of peeling back on that they're not really worried about ever actually like doing this, which is a big problem, especially for full sets coming into view, where we have like in standard full Final Fantasy, where as soon as they lose the rights to that IP,
they're not going to be able to sell it.
They're not going to be able to sell it ever again. Make that, and how do we get the reprints on an entire set?
So they did. Mark Rosewater did comments on this in regards to the Lord of the Rings set because people were like, bro, the One Ring is like $100+ US right now.
Yeah.
And like, when are you ever going to get to reprint the One Ring, especially outside of that contract or whatever? And he said, he's like, we can't tell you the details of the contract, but rest assured, we can reprint it. We are allowed to reprint it, don't worry. So he did quell the fears of that, but how long in the future until we get a reprint of Storm?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the one everyone's excited for, is the Storm one, right? Because
Storm
it's pretty,
was a hot...
Yeah, Team where everything has Storm.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I picked that up. I'm excited for it to come. It feels dirty to me, though.
Playing even Calamax, like the tap your first instant gets like copied. That's copied. That's not Storm.
Yeah.
And that's such a strong deck. Like I was regularly taking like 13 turns in that deck.
Yeah.
But you put that into like a Storm deck with 1,000-year Storm and all the other nonsense.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a dirty one.
Yeah.
I mean, to touch on that, I'm gonna try and not steer into just like bullshit Storm. I'm gonna try and make it Storm Voltron, where it's just like cool, like giant growth, and that's what I'm storming off with.
But again though, if you get like Giant Stroke and then like a Defiant Strike, like that's already now like +7/+7 for 3 mana.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're storming on like
Fury
Defiant
Strike,
you're drawing cards too, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, I would like Fury Storm. You start it off, you give it Double Strike. Giant Growth, we get +6. Then Defiant Strike, like we're +13 Double Striker at 6 mana.
Yeah. I know.
Does Storm have flying built into it?
Yes.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of gross.
Well, so yeah, like the Marvel thing is a whole thing to talk about too, because like I'm sure it's like the Commander bans. If you had to have been under a rock if you didn't hear the vitriol. Like, okay, Wizards screwed up bad, and I'm wondering how they're gonna go forward with this, because the site that they use, the company that they use to do the sale for the secret layer.
Yeah.
What I found out through listening to other content creators is that Wizards had the option to pay for a more secure method, but didn't. They went with the general service, and the general service has baked into it the ability to skip the line if you know how.
Yeah.
And like people were able to turn their clocks forward on their computer and get in early. And so here's the thing: we got in for our secret layers at the time that they went for sale, and immediately the line was like an hour, and then it paused like shortly after,
because the site was like crashing because there were so many people who had skipped the queue that
at the time that you could get in line, or you should have been able to get in line, every one of the extremely valuable promos that you would have gotten for spending money had all been consumed. The Arcane Signet. It's like right now, I think it's pushing $80 US.
Is it? I haven't bought Secret Layers in ages, but is it still through the Hasbro site thing?
No, this was
it's the Secret Lair specific website.
Right.
Okay.
Which I used a third-party service for the queue.
Yeah.
So it was a third-party service that they used, and apparently, like, people knew that you could skip the line because this third-party service has that baked in. So you as long as you had something preloaded into your cart before they like shut it into the thing, you could just copy your URL to go back to your cart, and then you were through. You could just load up whatever you want and click purchase. And then the crazy part was that you could go back and do it again.
As silly as it sounds, like Magic is just constantly like underestimating the demand for these products, right? Like for everyone who complains, like I'm not going to buy this. For everyone like me, I don't buy Secret Layers, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many people that want them, right? And you're never going to stop it because they're valuable, just inherently. Like even the mass-produced ones are inherently valuable stuff, right?
Yep.
But they always they did the cat deck, and that I wanted that deck.
Full Secret Lair.
Yeah, that deck was gone before I even knew it showed up, right?
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing. Like this, the whole reason they went to the print to demand on it was because of like they did the extra Jace, the fancy Jace, and I can't even imagine the number of foil sheets they had to ship out for that. I got a wall full of them.
Yeah,
right.
The War of the Spark one. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That was the apology, was the War of the Spark sheets, right? And so I thought they had solved that problem, and they're like, well, hang on just a minute. But like I guess balancing like pre-producing it and then waiting until it's all sold and getting it a year later kind of sucks.
So everybody, I think, agrees that the way that they should have handled this is if people want them immediately, like they were able to get them a week later after the sale, put X amount for that sale, and then leave the window open for the rest of the people that wants them as well. And then those will take 6 months to come to them because those ones will be print to demand. The pre-printed ones get snapped up by the people who jump on it really quickly.
That or like do like a halfway between where it's like it's print to demand but only on a time scale. Maybe that's kind of what you were saying, which is like the shop is open until from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That's
what that window.
So that's what they did for a long time, but because of that, it had such a delay in actually shipping it out.
Yeah.
Because then they had to print like, oh, we got 20,000 orders. We have to now make 20,000 decks.
Yeah.
And they can't just. Well, I assume they can't just like flip a switch, right? Like they're probably printing like the next 3 sets. They're probably already on the SpongeBob one.
But think of how different it would have been if instead of I wanted the Marvel Storm or whatever, or Wolverine layer, secret layer, and I did not get it because of the cheater, whatever, the people cheating the line. It would have been, well, I didn't get it next week, but I'll get it eventually.
Well,
there would be way less like fireballs being thrown at Wizardry.
With that scarcity too, right? Every time you have a product that's limited, you're going to get people who don't actually want it but want to sell it, right? Like scalping and like buying and reselling it is always going to be a business with a limited product because people want it.
Yeah.
So Wizards fucked up. We hope that they haven't even really made a statement about it, hey?
No.
They're sitting there being like, like just loaded with cash. But then it like,
I think it's a lot less that, and it's a little bit more whatever fuck up that they've had is the smartest move is to stay quiet because no matter what they say, is just going to make things worse.
Acknowledging it cost them foil sheets last time.
yeah, right. It's you're right. You're right.
I would
They just keep it
I
on the
would
sand.
I would take an apology foil sheet of Foundations.
Yeah.
I didn't order anything, but I'll pretend I did this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we touched on the SpongeBob thing as well. I know that like we're like late to talk about this,
Yeah.
but I
Life
guess
happens.
if you like listening to our podcast, you probably, I don't know, do you care what we say? Like we'll give you our opinions regardless of whether you want them or not. I think SpongeBob as a secret layer, if it's 10 cards, that's not nearly as offensive as Spider-Man in Standard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
SpongeBob, I remember right away, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Also, shout out to Doomwake. He's like a pioneer kind of MTGO content creator. He made a gag, like he made a meme image of Universes Beyond SpongeBob like 2 years ago, because it was like, oh, slippery slope, like this is gonna happen, and it was like basically a prophet at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's like they were jokes. They were jokes, and now it's real. It's like so strange that that's gonna be real. Are you gonna buy it?
I really hope in a weird twist of events it comes to like April 1st and they actually spoil. It's like, haha, SpongeBob was a joke. It was April Fool's. Sorry.
Well, they were. For me, how do you do a hey, we're going back to Lorwyn announcement? I'm like, hooray, and then they're like, all right, we push that back for Duretti in a wheelchair for some reason. I don't know why. Am I crazy? Maybe I've misseen it.
No, so
Artwork here.
We do have to. Yeah, this is the new Duretti that they spoiled. We are going to have to talk about the fact that it used to be for the longevity of Magic's history that 4 standard sets came through the standard pipeline a year. There's supplemental sets like Modern Horizons or Modern Masters, like premium sets on the side. But in terms of the standard pipeline, there was like 4 seasons in the year. Every 2.5 months, you'd get a new set into standard. Or 3 months, sorry. And that's how it was. They decided with this announcement, the Foundations era, not only did like last year, they were like, okay, we're going to make standard 3-year rotation, so there's going to be more sets in it. And now they announced, fuck it, we're going to do 2 more sets a year. 6 sets total every year, and only 3 of them now are Magic, and 3 of them are Universes Beyond.
And Foundations is huge. That's a monster set. Yeah.
Well, Foundations, I do actually want to shout out how much I love Foundations.
I think it's been a cool set, but it is huge. Like that's the influx of cards into like the pool is insane.
Oh yeah, and like all of the reprints. Like we got, I pulled a doubling season yesterday, and I'm like, one, we didn't need another reprint and alt art of doubling season, but it was so cool to pull another one. But it's like Standard's getting like all of the juice that it probably hasn't needed.
I would love them to print doubling season down to $5.
Yeah, well,
It's close. It's
on the way.
25 now.
It's on the way.
Is it down to 25?
Yeah.
That's pretty killer.
Yeah.
So there's like Bloodthirsty Conqueror is a card that everybody's talking about. Image here. It's essentially half of the Exquisite Blood Sanguine Bond combo, which is in standard now. But instead of on an enchantment, it's on a fucking 5/5 flying lifelink.
On a creature,
On
yeah.
a creature for a flying trample or something. Like it's a beater. We're gonna see that one. We'll put the fracture foil up here too, and like there's all these different treatments of it. You know what? The first time I saw the fracture foils and like the weird that like One Piece or like Final Fantasy-esque style of card, I was like, man, that's kind of weird. But like I saw some in the cabinet over here at the face-to-face events, and now like they're kind of fucking growing on me.
Some look nice.
Yeah, like
some of them look really nice.
Foundations is a love letter to Magic. It's not, especially in the face of what's coming. Everybody's like, damn, like this is gonna be the last like really magic-y set for a while, right? We're gonna get Tarkir, which is set on what is it, Shadow or Dragons of no, I can't remember the name of it, but the new Tarkir set.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the Jeskai, all those like amazing clan wedges or the shards, and that's gonna be very magic-y. And that's going to be the only one in 2025. That's the crazy part.
But again, like, how do you go from all right, like I swing at you with my Dramoka, and you're like, I cast Death of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, Dr. Octopus has reach. Like, what are we talking about?
He does,
Can I just say, though, I'm very excited not to own it, and I despise it, and I almost want to just, like, cut it into pieces just to tape it back together so that it's playable. I'm really excited to flex on somebody with Patrick the Star as a commander.
Well,
see that face? That face right there.
I equip
That's
Squidward's clarinet and swing for lethal.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am so.
I have a
I
stroke.
hate it. I hate it so much, but it's gonna be funny.
my commander is the Krabby Patty secret formula.
Yeah.
You assemble 5 ingredients and win the game. Something.
It's going to be wild.
It's gonna be.
Other notable things that
Not
have
looking forward
happened
to
in the world of Magic is Pioneer Masters finally for Arena. They've been talking about it for years. They've committed to December. I think it's December 10th.
Yeah.
The 394 card draftable set will flush out Pioneer, and they will drop the Explorer format, because the Explorer is like, well, it's Pioneer on Arena with what we have available on Arena. But they're finally going to flesh it out, and it's going to be Pioneer on Arena. I'm really excited for that.
I'm too dumb for this one.
Pioneer it's definitely like, I was really excited about it when it first came out, and then the pandemic happened, and I felt like it killed it. But it became robust again after.
Is Pioneer what they stopped doing tournaments for now?
They did. They didn't announce any high-level tournaments next year.
I think they said they're not doing like RCQ ones anymore.
Not RCQs, but the Spotlight series is another series they're doing that is going to be Pioneer. So they are still representing Pioneer in 2025. I love it. I don't play it a lot. I mean, I mostly, like, I played here last year. You can check out the vlog video we did last year where I did a Pioneer Challenge or two.
Check that out.
And killed it.
Yeah, one of them I got slaughtered. The other one I took it right to the top. It was pretty fun. This year we tried to do Popper. I tried. You did really well. Holy shit.
Yeah, first 2 rounds 2-0. Yeah, we were slapping, and then third round lost the first game, won the second game, and then was defeated at the hands of land.
That beats
You got Arena Shuffler?
Yeah,
right?
I got the Arena Shuffler really
The
good.
Arena Shuffler special in real life?
Yeah, it was just nothing but lands. Two slivers and nothing but lands. Don't do much.
I really wanted to record some vlog content of us playing the Popper thing, but like, it's crazy.
It's been slammed this year.
It's been slammed, and I just literally had 2 of my rounds went to time, so I couldn't even pick up a camera. So sorry, we did that thing. We had fun. It's not going to be on the video, but the reason I brought up the Pioneer thing is because when they announced Pioneer Masters on Arena, and people were like, hell yeah, it's finally going to be there. And then there was a Q&A where they were like, what are you working on next? And they confirmed that the whole team will be going back to development of 4 players.
Interesting.
Multiplayer on Arena for Commander.
Nice.
Of what, sorry?
They are developing confirmed 4 players, like instead of 1v1.
Like not just brawl, but like a 4-man.
Right, some way to play a 4-person pod
I'll quit my
on
job.
the arena client. I'll quit my job.
I'll play that all the time. That'd be really fun.
It won't have all of the card pool of Commander. They took them years to catch up for Pioneer, right?
Honestly, I enjoy what they have on Arena right now. Like Brawl was horrible. When it started, Brawl was terrible.
Yeah, because it was standard and rotated, right?
But with the new block, with like foundations especially, like there's a huge pool for building even just like Brawl or like 100-card Brawl kind of decks, right?
Historic Brawl, right?
Yeah, and again, I would play Commander with that. That'd be so fun. I would play a lot of those. It could be a great time.
Yeah, so it is confirmed that it's coming. It was always because there was an alchemy card that came out. I'll put it on the screen here. It was worded in a really funny way, where it said something. The way that the words were, it said "to the player to your right."
Okay.
And that was put on a card that was in alchemy, and I was like,
You're like, what's this for?
Like, they would not say the player to the right unless they were thinking about adding fucking multiplayer. So
I do think alchemy is like an interesting thing because you can actually live balance cards finally and like change it over instead of just being stuck with and being forced to ban.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they could have toned something like Nadu down enough to be playable. But
you can, but you risk making it unplayable, right? It's very hard to thread that line.
But there's lots of cards that are just there. They're just a little too strong.
Yeah.
And again, being able to move the card cost up a little bit, being able to like tone the damage on, like I like it. I like a actual live balance.
Yeah.
My question is, when are we getting alchemy in paper?
We did with Mystery Booster 2.
I know.
We got
but-
Oracle of the Alpha in paper, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I
Like-
want all of it.
There was more than just Oracle. I think there was multiple alchemy cards that they printed in paper, and I'd love to find one and play with it because
There's one conjure the power 9 into my deck.
Yeah, are you familiar with that card?
Which one?
Oracle of the Alpha. When it enters the battlefield, you conjure the power 9.
Oh,
and
yes,
shuffle
I
it
do
into
know
your
that
deck.
one, yeah. That's
so
cool.
like in paper you'd have to have like tokens,
Yeah.
but the crazy part is that they're not tokens. They're not treated as tokens. They like actually add cards to your deck. Right? It's a very strange card, but the one thing I don't like about alchemy is it feels like it's so much more that you have to keep up with, right? Like it's like an entire. Also, the fact that there's cards where when you cast them, it just randomly rolls the abilities out of like 36 available abilities.
Yeah,
It's
right?
so RNG heavy, and it's like it breaks my brain, and it pisses me off. I feel like that old
You almost
gamer-
need a computer at that point.
Yeah, you have to. It was developed for like, hey, Hearthstone is able to do this because it's a digital game, right? They can actually like just conjure cards or persistent effects where like you can add +1/+1 to a card, even if it shuffles back in your deck, it still has that ability on it when it comes back out.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they're experimenting with that. It is sort of crashing and burning though. I don't know if alchemy is going to be like a longevity format.
No. Every person that I've ever come across, like, honestly, just hates alchemy, and I get it. It's not even like, I don't even think it's necessarily like the conjuring of cards. It's the where are these effects that like only one person seems to be able to get. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, okay. Other things that I've got listed here to talk about. The bracket system. Do you want to talk about the bracket system?
I was gonna say, did you guys talked at the band, but did you talk to the new rules committee?
No, because so I've got also here the new Commander format panel. So they did select the committee, the new Commander rules committee, and Josh Leahy actually came back.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think
Honestly, that's great because he left because he wasn't even part of the rules committee before. He was
part of the Commander
advisory. Yeah.
But I like that because his problem, the reason that he left the CAG in the midst of all of that was like that he was vocal of like, well, what does our opinion even matter?
Yeah, why was this hidden from us, right?
Yeah, it was a bad call, and I think they sort of admitted that when they relinquished Command to Wizards.
Yeah,
how they were like, this might be too much for us. Like this, we kind of.
My big problem with it is like, how can you be like, hey, they made like an immense, they fucked up aggressively, and then. Okay, but it's like still the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still the same people. It is nice that they like. So Magic has grown so much, right? So having people that like are actually representative of the different regions, like Japan has like some members on the committee now, Brazil. Like there's a lot of people worldwide. We can't just have just America as a rules committee anymore. But
then I think
the rules committee. I've vocally said so many times. I think they have done a horrible job. I don't like. Again. We are doing more content right now than they've done in like 5 years. They haven't sat down and done a single panel discussion. Like, you can't write a 2-paragraph article, be like, we're the rules committee and we say everything's fine. Next week, ban it all. I don't think they did a good job, right?
No, they didn't.
Now, sure, volunteer position.
Yeah.
But like, still, this is also a volunteer position.
Yeah.
Are we getting paid?
I think now there's just. I think now it's at least I would hope that there's more of a semblance of like it being what people had kind of hoped or thought the rules committee was, because now it's still a little bit more in-house. I'm sure that it's going to be having broken down a lot of the barriers to communication that there was just between like Wizards of the Coast printing cards to whatever they were doing, and the rules committee being just people who were involved but had nothing to actually like do with what was going on. Now it's like they've removed that step where it's just like now they have a rules committee that's directly attached, or hopefully more directly attached to when and how they're printing cards, to be like, we don't get another Nadu situation. We don't get another Jewel Lotus situation. Where it's just like,
the thing is, all of these checks and balances existed. Nadu still happened because of the way that they mismanaged the testing of those cards. But I do want to bring up the distinction here is that like Wizards is now the rules committee, and essentially the Commander Advisory Group is the format, the Commander format panel that's being created.
Yeah.
So but at least it's now apparent. Its parent company is Wizards itself. So there's actual money to be put into this. They are getting paid a salary.
Yeah, they can do some stuff, which is it'll be nice to see. Like, again, they should, at a minimum, they're all out at MagicCon anyways. Like, sit down, discuss, actually talk with like the people that are there and say, here's why I don't think here's why I think this should be banned. Like, explain a Golos ban to me, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like, in any of that stuff, like actually have we think it's bad. You get a blurb, and I don't care that your deck was $2,000 and you love it. Go away.
Yeah. Skill issue.
Yeah, pound sand. Right? Like, it's I think that's why bans like hurt Commander players the most, because it's not supposed it's supposed to be where we can play all our stuff.
Yeah.
And it can't. I don't know. The new Commander's rule committee is okay. It's got some nice people on it.
To see, like, we'll give them some time to cook.
Well, like you said, leading into the brackets.
Yeah, right. So they did announce when they kind of pissed everybody off with the banning the cards. They announced they're like, look, we're going to try and develop a system that is better than the 0 to 10 power scale, because it's kind of flawed. Mm-hmm. And like they did say, we're going to do something akin to a bracket system, like a 1, 2, 3, 4. But we want to do it with the community. We want to make sure we get it right.
There's no way to get it right.
They announced that they were going to have it ready for MagicCon Vegas, which was like a week and a half ago or whatever. And eventually they got to the point where they were like, look,
it's not
we can't do that in the time that it takes. We need to think about this for enough time. So they still have not announced what they're going to do with it yet.
Well, because they're going to keep hitting this roadblock, and I think I talked about it before. It is an impossible task that they're trying to do, and I don't care how many minds you put behind it. I don't care if you put an AI supercomputer behind it. You're never going to be able to quantify every card in Magic to put it on a 4-tier bracket system. And one of the biggest things that we kind of talked about before, Lotus Ring. You guys called it garbage. I'm like, oh, this is a great card. It's pay 3, gives vigilance and +3/+3 to equip creature. Tap, sack the creature, add 3 mana of any color. Any 90% of decks out there, garbage card. Garbage card.
Very narrow.
It has nothing to do. If you're looking at like an Aristocrats, kind of like, I want a lot of death triggers, I've got a mountain of tokens, cool. You need 3 mana, and all of a sudden you get to free sack your entire board. And if you're Blood Artisting, cool, that is a great deck. That's a tier 1, or what, they said power 4, tier 4 was like the good.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about where they're putting these cards.
I was going to say, they're not going to bracket every card, though.
Right.
That's the thing. They only have to, like, there are cards that audibly grow. Like, I complain every time anyone plays Cycrift. Every time.
Yeah.
No matter the game, no matter who it is, I could be playing against a child who's like, hey, this is my first deck, I'm having a great time, and I'll still be like,
Yeah.
like, it's a card I hate, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there are audible grown cards. Like, there's normal stacks cards. Smothering Tithe, Ristic Study. There's lots of cards that overperform and you can put on a bracket system. But you don't need to be like Savannah Lions is a tier 1 card, right?
Yeah. So, and they said, I think, initially that they were going to target about 150 cards and hope that 150 cards provides a nice template for everything else. I think that is never going to work. You leave so much still question mark.
Well, even if you look at the salt list on EDH Rec, right?
Right, yeah.
A lot of those cards, I'm like, why is this here?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, sure, there's mean stuff, but there's a lot that it's like, that makes people mad?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I've never really done an investigation on that, but there's a like a ranking system for Salt Score, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can actually go look at what the top 100 saltiest cards are in Commander.
Yep.
And yeah, some of them, like, I don't know how they calculate that.
Every year you get a vote.
Oh, okay.
Every year it's salty, not salty. And it just pulls up a bunch of cards. You can be like, yes, no, yes, no. And based on how many people is there.
So that's like political surveys. You've only got the opinions of people who answer surveys.
Yeah.
Well, you only have that, but then also like you have all the dual lands have like a salt score. Like they do weight a deck in the terms of salt score. And I play a bunch of decks like that have dual lands as group hug decks that don't win any games. They're just like, I'm like, oh, my friends will have fun this way if I play this. And like my Kenrith deck is a group hug deck. I've never won a single game with my group hug Kenrith, and it would be higher on the salt score, right? And that's how you use cards is always going to be better than like what you're doing, because like if I'm playing a hyper stacked deck and I have a Ristic Study and Smothering Tithe out, everyone's gonna be like, okay, annoying, yeah. But if it's like a group hug and then I'm giving everyone stuff with all this treasure, less people are gonna be like, oh, we have to get rid of this.
Yeah, where's Toxrill on the Salt Score?
Oh, it's up there.
Yeah, it's up there.
You got what, 3 Toxrill decks?
I do. There's no way to make Toxrill not bad. When we played, we had Brady play a game, and Brady's like, oh, Toxrill's fine. I was like, sure.
Oh,
And
my sweet summer
he's like, yeah,
child.
Toxrill is okay. And I have one Toxrill deck, and it's almost only Mana Rocks. And I dropped Toxrill, and then the same turn dropped a, Spark Double?
Oh
So
my
I had
God.
2 Toxrills out, and I think that had a double scoop at that. I get it.
I'd be intrigued to do that against Henzi. Because other than having to recast Henzi every once in a while, I don't have creatures for you to be getting slugs on. Almost.
It's when they die.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's when they die, but they're going to die before they get the counters. Because it's all single turn.
I think it's just whenever a creature an opponent controls dies.
With
Put
a
their
slug
card
counter
here.
on it.
Yeah, Toxrill is on the screen here because, I mean, I hardly know what it is.
It's whenever a creature with a slug counter on it dies, you get a slug.
I don't think so. I think the slime is just the 1/1, and whenever a creature dies. I could be wrong.
Just for posterity,
Yeah,
I'm
for
going to
posterity,
look it up
let's
right
look
now.
this up. Let's make sure that we're...
Toxrill's a great group hug card. You have to believe me.
Toxrill the Corrosive.
Toxrill's actually a good point on why Bandus Commander should be a thing too. by the way.
Yeah.
So, Toxrill says, at the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. So it would only happen at the end step when you get the counter. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each counter on them. And then whenever a creature you don't control with a slime
Oh, it is
counter
with a slime
dies,
counter. All right.
Yeah, so if you can avoid that, and then...
So Henzi's at risk, but everything
Again,
else.
though, like Toxrill as well, like having that draw engine from your obnoxious like things to have on the card, like that never should have got there. Like Toxrill with just the 1/1s would be good, just the dies, making slugs would be good, but Toxrill just does a lot.
It's a good card.
Good card. Always love bringing it up.
Good card for bad people.
Hey, how has your weekend been here at the face-to-face? What have you been playing?
It's been good. I've been only Commander. That's all I do. But I played a bunch. I keep making Rego decks. Can't stop. But no, I've played a lot of like silly stuff. I got to play the old loot, not the new land loot. So it was like permanent type loot, and that was a really, really fun game. I played into. I was playing into Emery's Lord of Pain and my friend Dean's Zozu the Punisher deck. Yeah. So I was taking damage left and right. That was good. There's, I think, at least one of the turns I took 8 damage for dropping 2 lands into play.
Yeah.
Whew. But good games. No, I've had a lot. I still hope I get one with you.
Yeah.
I haven't got
Well, we are gonna turn
You
this
got
back
one with
around.
us, right?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, are we wrapping here?
No, not right now. But I'm saying after this, we should turn it
Oh,
around. We
yeah.
should get a. I really want to get a game with you.
I'd love to come over and do one with you guys.
Yeah,
The booth looks too good to not do a game here.
All right. Well, do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about this weekend? I burned through, I think, most of my notes there. We got Foundations Era, Bikini Bottom. Oh yeah, I did want to bring up. I guess I wrote down Lego as an example of what's happening to Magic the Gathering in regards to the
Where it's all
universe.
IP and it's not even Lego anymore.
And people refer to it as like what happened to Lego. And like fucking Lego's just way more successful now than it's ever been, you know? They sell things like crazy, like, so it is like a selling out. But like Lego still makes like their own IP sets
I mean, Lego
a little bit, right?
I mean, Lego's weird because Lego was never really like, oh, this is our IP. Like, there's not like
It was,
but it's like there's not like here's 30 years of Lego lore. It's
No, it wasn't lore, but
Magic
they
does
had.
have like deep lore, right?
Yeah.
like there's an established story, and I think that's why most people have a gripe about the universe. To be honest, because it's like it's effectively taking all of these characters, all of this stuff going on in our game that we love, and it being like, yeah, none of this matters. It's SpongeBob versus Socrates versus
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I have to dork rant. So like they have like such a good opportunity with the Omen Pass thing now that everything's there, and they could have like had like legendary creatures, not just planeswalkers go different places, but legendary creatures could have gone, and you could have seen like interplane wars and everything like that. Like you could have seen like Kaladesh like coming over to like Ixalan, like a dinosaur plane, like so these like highly advanced like things like coming over to like basically a primitive plane of like they still have like dinosaurs everywhere, right? You could have seen so many cool things. Like you have like Kaldheim is like a Viking plane and stuff, right? Like you've got pirate planes. So you could have seen lots of cool raids. There's lots of great legendary creatures in Magic. That's why we play Commander, anyone who does, right? Yep. And instead of doing anything good with it, they're just like, what if I give you 7 versions of Kellen? And again, I've said this repeatedly. I've never seen someone play a Kellen deck. Never seen anyone build Kellen. Kellen's not a good character. There's nothing there. Yep. You know what I mean? It's just why is that? And then everything they do, like they could do all my legendary creatures I like now can go anywhere in the multiverse, and they are like, Duretti in a wheelchair is the best you're getting, and I don't care. Yeah. Like it's, you know what I mean? The Omen Paths could have been so cool, and they're just like,
no. To add to that too, because it was the first problem with the Lord of the Rings set. They missed out on such a chance there, and they've been dropping the ball ever since. Give us fucking battles. Where are my more battles?
Oh, yeah, right?
Legendary battles. You have sieges. Give us battles.
The Battle of Minas Tirith, you know.
Well, that's the jumping around so much. There's so many good mechanics that like Pier 1 plot. Why? Why is there not better? Like you give me one plot commander, it's Fibblethip in mono blue, and I'm like, okay, I can only storm this commander because I can't really do anything. Like, nothing more fun than mono blue casting it and having no mana available, and I'll wait till no, it's not fun.
Is there a non-legendary that would have been better?
Well, if you think of like Dream Devourer with the
the Soraya?
No, Dream Devourer was like a non-legendary, but you could foretell.
Yeah, you can foretell things from your hand.
And then they're just like, no, can't have that. Also, it's not even in the colors of all the foretell things. Don't know why that is.
Yeah, they did for the Secret Lair and kind of the same controversy they're talking about. Edgin from Dungeons and Dragons, the movie crossover. Is Dream Devourer effectively the exact same first ability, and then Dream Devourer is a buff to your creature, or a buff to itself, and then Edgin is... I can't remember. It gives card draw or return something.
But like it's just they've done so many good. Like foretell's a great mechanic, plot's great. Battles are phenomenal. I really like them. Like they're very cool to be able to see that. Even the rooms recently, right? Like the rooms are pretty cool. But when's the next time we're gonna get rooms?
See, rooms make more sense to me in the term of like, it's just a supplementary thing. Maybe we go back to it, maybe we don't. But it's like it was designed into Duskborn.
The horror of unlocking the room and what's over here.
Yeah, like I'm not upset about that. It seems weirdly timed that they would have done that after the Clue set, where they could have done more rooms or something in there to lead to it. But at least with battles, it's just like. It was a whole big hype of like, this is a whole new card type. This is something that doesn't already exist in Magic. It's
fundamentally changed the way you play.
Well, yeah, it's a new permanent type.
Yeah.
And then they've just completely ignored it, where there's been so many flavorful aspects where you could have done this, or new
Lord
cards.
of the Rings.
Like Lord of the Rings was the big one for me, where it's just like, there's at least 3 battles out of those books and movies that you could have been like, oh yeah, that battle, that whole like 45-minute scene, that whole 3 chapters of the book.
Yeah.
No.
So this Edgin card is each non-land card in your hand without foretell has foretell.
Oh, Sherman plays this one, yeah.
Its foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2, which is nice. And then whenever you cast your second spell, you can goad target creature and opponent controls. That's it. Yeah, not a bad card.
I like that. That's cool. But yeah, like it's just I hope that they do more. But again, when you jump around so much to like these like terrible Rakdos in a cowboy hat sets. That no
literally Rakdos in a cowboy hat.
Yep.
Well, the other thing too is like they had like the Phyrexians were like they were a built up like pretty big bad guy, and they're like, all right, we're wrapping that up in like 2 sets.
Yep.
2 sets and an aftermath booster, which no one liked.
Yep.
Right, like it's just like they And then since then, they've just done pretty much nothing with it. There's been like nothing like compelling about storytelling, and like some people are like, oh, like the Duskborn story is pretty good and stuff, but like I don't care about like the horror theme story, like the give me like a fantasy thing, like I said, right? Like
Lorwyn, and then like you said before, Lorwyn was announced to be in a 2025 set, and Lorwyn got shoved to 2026 for the unannounced Universes Beyond set. So like that's what pissed people off, was like, come on, like, and I don't know, I think Prof, the Tolarian Academy, like he said that he thinks that's the Game of Thrones one. And like, is Lorwyn gonna get shelved for fucking Cersei Lannister?
If you look at like a lot of like stores that I've talked to have said Bloomborough is the best selling set that they've seen.
Yeah.
Bloomborough killed it because Bloomborough felt like magic.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing in a while that has felt like magic. It wasn't a Fallout thing. It was just like, here's some like cute animals and everything like that. They're in this cool thing like the Calamity Beast, these big huge things. Like it was really, really fun. Like I think that's like, it was such a good set. And then they just go from that to being like, all right, and now you're playing with Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man does feel really
out of left field.
Jarring.
It is. It's really jarring to me. Like I've got my son turns 3 tomorrow, and he loves Spider-Man. We got a Spider-Man cake, like everything Spider-Man. I understand, like Spider-Man's a big IP and it's super
Spider-Man
hot.
Commander Deck.
But like Spider-Man
being
in
not
standard,
bad?
like it's Secret Lair, sure, but like in standard seems really strange. And I know that, like, I guess as if you're just fundamentally a Commander player, standard, Pioneer, Modern don't matter. Right?
A lot of these things don't affect me that much. I just don't buy them.
Yeah.
Right? But again, I've always had the opt-out option. If you play a set where this is just now in the set, you know? Because if I don't want to play against your Barney the Dinosaur deck, I can just be like, I don't really like that one. It is what it is, right? Like, I
Barney
generally
the Dinosaur, oh my god, you just willed that into existence.
It's coming, I'm sure.
Look back to this YouTube short in 2027.
I was excited for the Teletubbies.
No.
The baby in the sun.
Yeah, oh my god, and that's like, geez, what?
The baby in the sun deals 1 damage to everyone each turn.
Approach of the Second Sun, Teletubbies alter right now.
That is a really funny alter, actually. Approach of the Second Sun with the baby just...
That would be the way to reprint that card.
Oh god.
Get that back.
You know what? You've convinced me on this one. I'm more sold on this one than the Spider-Man.
You want to know why? It's because Teletubbies, high fantasy.
Yeah, it is.
Nothing real world about
Care
that.
Bear's Secret Lair?
You win the game if you consume however much tubby.
Tubby, what?
The weird pink goo.
Oh my god.
The tubby custard. Tubby custard.
And that's our show, everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say tubby custard sounds inappropriate.
That's what. It's the tubby custard.
Yeah, I mean that does sound like a great place to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to our episode called Tubby Custard.
I called tubby custard.
Thank you, Dan, for being our guest on this.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it feels really good to be neighbors here this year, and I hope we do this many more times in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to go to any of the future ones here? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I know
Always.
Saskatoon is in January, Edmonton is in March. Those are the ones that are close enough to us to go to. I think we're going to do Edmonton in March.
We'll probably be up at the Edmonton one. I would probably go to Saskatoon, but I just had broken my leg, so I'm finally back at work, and I don't think they're giving me more time off.
Yeah, right.
Probably not.
I can't see them being like, you know what? Go ahead. I think they miss me at work. So
All right, well, thank you as always for listening to the Rogues Passage podcast. We're very desperately close to 1,000 subscribers. I would love it if you hit the like and subscribe thing. Tell your friends.
And tell us what your favorite or least favorite secret lairs are in the comments.
Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on
hit the
Secret
button, animals.
Lair. Hit the friggin' button.
It's the least you can do to support a great channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
It
you,
costs
thank you.
nothing.
Also, thank you, Face to Face. You guys are legendary. It's all been so kind to us, and we hope to be back as many times as you'll have us. So,
Let's go.
day 3 of Face to Face tour. Signing out. See you on the next episode.
Out.
Bye.